This is our ladder warm-up number 1. Now, we're not super big fans of the ladder, but in some instances we do like to use them. What we're going to see with our ladders is they're predominantly hopping exercises. The ladder, when we do our hopping exercises, gives us some foot-eye coordination, which is important, gives us a low-level plyometric out of our ankle and calves, and also increases that ankle and foot stiffness. So there are some purposes that we use them. We don't really do the running ladder drills because it encourages a small stride length, and it encourages you to not put a lot of force into the ground. So you're not going to see any running ladder drills, but we don't mind using some of these hopping ladder drills. It also helps you organize large groups of athletes. So for a hopping ladder number 1, Ty is just going to come down and hop on 2 feet every box, and then he's just going to jog on out 5 yards. Really important what we're doing out of the 5 yards, because that's where we are going to build some speed into this workout. But each athlete will go through 3 times. If you have rows of athletes, once the person in front of you gets about halfway through, then the next person will go. But even in a space like this, where we're about a 20 by 20 box, we can comfortably get 45, 50 athletes lining up 6 or 7 ladders in a row to take care of this stuff. So he did his forward one. Now he's going to go lateral. So he's going to go 2 times each direction lateral. He's staying on the ball of your feet. You don't want to let that heel touch the ground. We say that before, the heel's the brakes. And then he's going to slide out. So he'll do 2 times facing the camera, and then 2 times facing away from the camera. Again, make sure they're going sideways. You don't want them to be twisted going through this. And really how fast they go through the ladder is not important. You want accuracy and precision through the ladder, staying on the ball of the foot, strengthening up the calves, strengthening up the feet. They shouldn't be messing this stuff up, all right? Bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Yep. Good top posture. He's not flopping all over the place. Now our next one, we kind of combine that forward and the sideways to do with our ricochet. And this is actually a pretty decent one for change of direction. It is simple beginning change of direction. He's going to start with his right foot in and then jump a square forward each time, but alternate the leg that he's in. So he's going to be right leg, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And then he's going to take a little burst out of there, like a 3-step, 2 3-step start out of there. There's only 5 yards. But he stays on the ball of his foot, boom, boom, boom. And you can see how there is a little change of direction on that outside leg there. Hop, 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 hop. Bang, bang, bang. Good. You should see when they come out of that ladder, boom, there should be that initial big arm action, if they truly are sprinting out. So after 3 of those, and you're going to do the same thing going backwards. Now this one takes some spatial awareness. I still stay on the ball of my foot, shoulders leaning forward, good athletic position, but I actually have to jump back with it. All right, and then I'm going to back pedal out. So he's going to do 3 of those. And you'll see the athletes, they're going to struggle initially jumping that far back. They're not used to jumping and pushing backwards, but it's a good skill to be able to have. Ball on my foot, shoulder leaning forward. Good. Yep, just like that there. And then we get into our hopscotch, which is another decent one for a little change of direction because you are planting on the outside. But feet can start in, feet can start out, doesn't matter. But 2 out, 2 in, 2 out, 2 in, out, in, out, in. And again, he's going to burst out of there 3 times. Ball of my foot. And we are looking at a quick ground contact time there. The ladder really essentially is not much different than jump and rope. Light and quick on the ball of my foot, some different movement patterns. So in that regard, it can be a useful warm-up. Hop, hop. We'll get that one more time. And this is something we would do in a big group. So we wouldn't have an athlete normally just run through it like this. He would go to the end of the line. There'd be 4 or 5 guys in front of him. Then he'd get through again. This is the warm-up in a blender. This is going too fast. But then the same thing going backwards. They're going to stay on the ball of their foot, shoulders leaning forward. You don't want them leaning backwards on it. They stay under control. Good balance. Good coordination. and he backpedals out. Watching him do this warm-up, it's going to go pretty quick, but if you're using this with 5 or 6 people in each line, this warm-up takes a solid 15 minutes. And we use it mostly with our younger athletes. This isn't something we'd use for a higher level high school or college athlete. Then we got a single leg hops. So we'll start on a single leg again. I want to stand the ball of the foot. Keep the heel off the ground. And he's just going to hop right on down the middle. When he gets out on this one, this is a hop. This is a little baby hop. When he gets out, he's going to jump. That's going to transition to a bigger jump on the way out. So if that cone is 5 yards, you're looking at 3 or 4 jumps, and he's at that cone. He'll do 2 on each leg. This is a nice exercise right here. I mean, it's a single leg hop to a single leg jump. This you would do it with any athlete. And then the next one is same thing laterally. So laterally, I always like him to hop on the leg that's furthest away from the ladder. All right? Hop on the leg that's furthest away from the ladder. Only because you generally change directions, equal and opposite action. If you want him to hop on the other leg, knock yourself out, but we generally are going to do it on that trail leg. Heel stays off the ground, good tall posture. Toe, knee, hip, shoulder, head, everything stays facing sideways. Don't let him go through this and be twisted. So stay facing sideways. You're going to do 2 times each single leg, right? That toe stays facing me. Boom, 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 boom. Good. Have them slow down. This takes some strength, believe it or not. The athletes are going to want to turn going through this to make it a forward hop. And then that single leg lateral jump coming out. And again, that's a fairly challenging one coming out of the ladder. So he's got the other leg, stays facing sideways. The biggest thing on this one is slow it down. Have the athlete slow down. I don't need to be in a hurry on this one. Good. Yeah, nice job. And then we get to where we're doing our crawls on the ground. So they're going to take a bear crawl. Now when he does bear crawl, his feet are going to be outside the ladder. His hands will be inside. He's going to put one hand down in each rung. When he gets done, he's going to do a somersault right here and then get up and jog out. So feet outside the ladder, one hand down the middle. One. Good. Yep. And he gets out and he goes. By the time he's done with that somersault, he's almost at his 5-yard distance, so it's just a jog out. But he's going to do 3 of those moving forward. Yep. When they do that somersault, keep the feet and hands fairly close together. Hips will be up high. Tuck the chin and find their back to the ground. They got to be able to, student athletes got to be able to fall on the ground, fall down without just slamming to the floor and getting hurt. They got to be able to tumble, fall down, and pick up and run out of it, because they are going to fall down in the game. So they're playing volleyball and they're diving, or they're playing soccer and they get tripped or slide tackle. They got to be able to get in contact with the ground and scramble back up. So believe it or not, this is an injury prevention exercise. Then he's going to do the same thing going backwards. Now, when he does his somersault going backwards, it's not a somersault. It's going to be a backwards roll. So you're going to notice him, he's going to kind of get in a full squat position and roll over one of his shoulders. It doesn't matter to me what shoulder he rolls. There's his full squat, and he finds a shoulder. All right? I'm going to show it to you one time. We kind of find that full squat, and then roll right over his shoulder. Don't roll over the back of your head on this one. Good, he finds a shoulder. Plenty of times you're in a game, going backwards, you fall. You got to be able to manipulate the ground and get yourself back up. And the kids like it. It's enjoyable. Warms up the upper body. They're having fun. They're laughing. And so he does that backwards bear crawl with a backwards roll. And that's hopping ladder number one.